make Big Chief heap glad. Well, he certainly doesn't look heap glad.
Hey all, Plastic Commander here, and say, we're in part 2 of the 1,000 subscribers special to Wild West Extravaganza, and it really warms my heart that there are over 1,000 of you now who really enjoy my content. And since there's so many of you guys who enjoy my content, one, I got a microphone. So, yeah, it's nothing special right now. I just got the hookup to get one hooked into my phone. I was having complications with that. And two, I like what you guys have to say. So, it really, really warms my heart when you guys send me so many messages and stuff. So, I thought I would read one from a fan at random. I told one of my friends to just look through my comments and write one down, so I have it right here, and I haven't looked at it. I've been avoiding looking at it, and I'm real excited to read whatever this very nice fan had to say. So let's just look here a second, and I'll start reading. I need a minute. So for all of my fans out there who were raised in the 1960s, that's right, all of you guys over 200 years old.
Old people are the greatest. They're full of wisdom and experience.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
I got a special treat for you. You probably recognize these figures, if you had them. So we're looking at the Glencoe Marks Frontier Wilderness Daniel Boone playset figures here. So these are all pioneers. Like I was saying, the Wild West extends way, way before we think of Henry repeaters and cattleman revolvers and John Marston and whatnot. And it goes all the way back, well, into the 1600s, 1700s. Like you can see, these guys have flintlocks. And these guys are also very akin to what Lewis and Clark looked like when they were exploring the American wilderness. So, these are some more obscure Marx figures, and these are all reproductions that you're looking at here. One way to tell is, for one, I don't believe they made them in this tan color. I think they were made in blue. I know they were made in blue, and they were also made into like a reddish brown. And I'll have a photo of that playset up here. Took me forever to figure out what playset that these were from. But anyway, this is a reproduction set. And one thing you may notice if you look at these is that you can barely make it out without focusing. There it is. These figures have the Glencoe Marks logo, the copyright stamp on the bottom. And you may be thinking, well, Clay, how can I tell if these are actual Marx figures or not? So I'm going to take this fellow right here. And if we look at that logo right there, you can tell it doesn't quite look right. We can tell as best as we can, it doesn't quite look right. Looks like the letters here are kind of all smudging together, and it's really hard to make out from a distance. Like if you took another one of these figures, if I had that right set up, if your eyes are decent enough, you could probably just read what that is. Glencoe Marks, or Lewis Marks, copyright, and co. But this one right here, not so much. It's a little bit smudged, and what you may feel or even see is that some of the letters, the depth is a little bit uneven. So it kind of sinks in places, and it doesn't quite look right. And if you know anything about Marx, is that they had a ridiculous standard of quality. I mean that near where the old Marx factories were, there is a landfill where they just buried figures. And there's another YouTuber who went out, dug some of them up, and refurbished them. Cleaned them up and resold them But yeah, if figures were different colors that they didn't like, or the molds were messed up, whatever, they just buried them in barrels in a landfill. So now there's a landfill, and I'm not quite sure where it's at, and I will link that video here in the description of this video. And it's really funny that they just buried them, because, you know, back in the 60s, no one really cared or had standards for the environment. So, Pioneer playset, really, really cool. So up next, we have something that may look a little bit less alien in comparison to the other sets we reviewed so far, and these are NPC Cowboys and Indians. So I say they're pretty familiar, and what I mean by that is these guys are kind of the beta versions of the Airfix molds in a lot of ways. So these guys came out in the late 50s, early 60s. Some of the early sets made by NPC, Multiple Product Company. And these guys are really cool. And when I say that they are kind of the beta version of Airfix figures, well, just look at them. A lot of these guys are very reminiscent, as if they're almost the Airfix figures in like an alternate universe. So, for example, we're going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to grab a knockoff Airfix cowboy, and very, very similar. So it's as if Airfix kind of cleaned up and took inspiration from the NPC mold. And it's not just this figure too, there's a couple of others. Like for one, this rifleman. Very, very similar. And this one right here looks a little bit more natural. This guy looks kind of stiff with that leg locked like that. And that looks like a really small rifle now that I think about it too. But yeah, these figures are really, really cool. You can barely see that there's some detailing buttons on the jacket. Looks like he has a flannel shirt on. But the Native Americans in this set are really, really nice. One of my favorites has to be this guy right here with a knife. And with better abs than me, that's for sure. Also, look at that back. This guy's handsome. I'd totally hit on him if I was at a gay bar. And if I was gay. And also, we got a guy right here who looks a little bit more natural than that rifleman with a bow and arrow. And perhaps my favorite figure in this set, and I have two of them on the table, is this Native American gentleman. And he has a tomahawk. And in this hand, at first glance, you may not realize what that is. That's a scalp. This guy just scalped the cowboy. Man, I love children's toys from like 60 years ago because they just did not care. Then we got this guy right here. I'm going to guess this is like a bandit or something. But I don't know what this is. I guess it's its lunchbox. Mom packed his lunch for him before his big day. Going to the bank and stealing back his tax dollars. Triple kill. And here we have this gentleman here, which I don't have this Airfix figure on the table, but there is an Airfix figure that's very similar to this guy. And this guy is a sheriff. He has a little star. So really nice detail. You can see the bandana is both his holsters. And then on the table, you can see you get a variety of guys on horseback. So this one right here, and probably the only one I don't have a duplicate of that's NPC. This guy with a sword, looks like he may be part of a cavalry or something. So yeah, a really, really, really nice set. And a set a lot of people don't really bring up when talking about Cowboys and Indians, even though it has the significance of being one of the first Cowboys and Indians sets that was produced and that a lot of people started to copy. So, NPC Cowboys and Indians, really, really cool. And if you collect, definitely try to seek out a set of these. I highly recommend them. So I was trying to think of good ways to commit suicide, don't ask why, and I think it finally hit me. I'm just gonna eat one of these guys right here, and that's because what you're looking at are Crescent Toy Company led cowboys. So the Crescent Toy Company is based in the UK, or was based in the UK. I don't think they're around anymore, considering the fact they probably killed a lot of children and babies with their toys made of poisonous metal. So, in the early 50s, we all know, sing it with me now, if you're a toy collector, there was an event called the Lead Scare, when people wisened up to the fact that a lot of toys are made out of a metal that's really dangerous and poisonous. And they kind of had a big freak out, and pretty much everyone started switching to making toys out of plastic, because for one, it was easier to mold with, two, it wasn't poisonous, and three, it was a cheaper material. So, these are some of the oldest figures in my collection. They go to about the 1930s or 40s. So right before that Lead Scare incident. So really cool. Crescent Toy Company Cowboys. Yeehaw. So people always tend to ask me, Clay, why do you never get out of bed? And I always tell them the same thing. It's because the dreadfulness that hangs over me every single day is so heavy and so strong that getting out of bed is no more than a mere step anymore. It's now climbing a mountain of my own solace and self-pity that I have to struggle up every single day just to barely make ends meet enough to where I can just do it again the next day. And quite frankly, very little is keeping me going anymore. Toy Soldiers of San Diego is a really cool company. People always also ask me, Clay, why do you not do any drugs? And I tell them, it's so I can afford these figures. What if I told you that this is like $1 bajillion on the table right now? You wouldn't believe me. But indeed, you would be wrong. So, what you're looking at are two different unique sets. The ones on the left over here are a set, and the ones on the right are a set. If you look them both up, then you would, see both of them. And honestly, you gotta buy them together. They just go together so perfectly. These are Plains Indians. So what we're looking at is a little bit later. So we got a guy right here, looks like he has a matchlock rifle. And we also got a guy right here with what looks to be a Henry repeater. So really cool. Then we got this guy right here that looks like he just heard a really funny joke and is also practicing poor gun safety at the same time. Hey, booger hook off the bang bang switch, my friend. Then we got this guy with a repeater carbine. The weapon that could kill Confederates 9 times over in a single minute. Just knocking all of them over. And we got this guy right here who looks like he's about to throw a club. Really cool, and the level of detail is insane. You can even see the little knot there, as well as the little detail in his pants and his loincloth. The feather on top of his head. And probably my favorite out of both of these is probably just this guy right here, who just has the cattleman revolver out and a Bowie knife in one hand, just ready to wreck house. And again, the detail is just outstanding. I have some complaints with Toy Soldiers of San Diego that I've talked about a little bit. And for one, it's that the material, though it's high quality and probably makes it really easy to add this detail, it's a little, how do you say, not sturdy? That's not how you say that. But as you can see, there's a lot of curvature where there shouldn't be. And the same with the ends of the rifles. That's not really a good example. I just got a good set. Oh, here we go. But you can tell with a lot of these Toy Soldiers of San Diego sets, the rifles tend to bend, and these are by far the least bad examples. But in a lot of their other sets, they're real bad. I'm just knocking all of these over. But there tends to be a lot of curvature in the molds. It's just the plastic, which kind of sucks, although there's a way you can fix that with hot water. Pour some hot water, bend it back into place, and then pour cold water on top at the ends of the rifles and stuff like that, if you're experiencing any of that. And Toy Soldiers of San Diego tends to be the worst. But other than that, they're definitely one of my favorite Toy Soldier companies. And the funny thing is, I wouldn't really recommend you buying them for your small children. Because really, they're for people like me. There we go. Now they're all more at home. They're really more for the people like me who collect, in all honesty. Like, I would maybe buy them for, you know, teenage children who like history and maybe like painting figures. These would be great to paint, but I'm just not good at it. And I don't want to flush $30 down the drain. In fact, actually, both these sets combined are closer to $50. So, Toy Soldiers of San Diego. Some of the most high-quality figures you can find. Wow. We really have come a long way, haven't we? Not just the state of my channel, but the state of humanity since the days of the Wild West. Did you know Andrew Garfield hung on for 11 days after getting shot twice in the back by Charles Guiteau? That just sounds awful and nightmarish, and I'm really glad we have modern medicine. So guys, make sure to stick around later this week. The Halloween special is going to be coming out. October's just special month. Might as well be riding a short bus with how special it is. And after that, you'll be seeing more of the regular Toy Armyman content until we get to Thanksgiving and Christmas, where I have some stuff planned. Make sure you join the Discord, link in the channel description, as well as the Reddit, and make sure you like and subscribe as well. And also, I just want to thank you guys for all of the support y'all have been giving me over the past 3 months that I've started doing this. It's really, really been great, and I'm really enjoying doing it. So, and by the way, to the fan who wrote that nastiness I had to look at the start of this video, got some soap for you for that potty mouth of yours. You sicken me.
That Chinaman is running them cheap shells on me again.
I thought you were going to say the sun was in your eyes. That is to say, your eye